We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Two Noobs podcast. Although today we are reverting to WO. It's just two of us. Mr. Matt is on a well-deserved vacation. We hope he is enjoying himself.
Yes.
With me, bobbing and weaving, is the indubitable John Tracy. John, how are you doing today?
How are you?
I am well. The rumor is I am Steve Murray. There's a lot going on in Philly this week, man.
Yeah.
Bill Clement and Al Morganti both will be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in November. What do you think of that?
Well deserved.
Absolutely well deserved. Clement in the broadcaster category and Morganti in the, I guess, writer.
Yeah, I guess he would be
media.
Yeah, the beat writer media.
Yeah, beat writer media.
They also need to give him a medal for creating the wing bowl. Morganti's the man. Love that Morganti.
I'm not sure how that relates to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Doesn't matter.
Also, we got a new Flyers coach. John Tortorella was named on Friday or Thursday or Friday. His press conference was Friday. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to that. He was very interesting. I'm excited.
Cat. Yeah, he's an interesting cat. Twitter's been interesting with him, with the anti-Tortorella, pro-Tortorella going back and forth here. So we'll see.
We'll see. The anti-Tortorella was probably as misinformed as you were last episode about his
it's true.
relationship with the players.
It's true. I want to see what he does with the young guys. Let's say now that you're the coach, now I'm interested. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, as we do every week, up until we get to episode 100, because no legitimate sports league allows its players to wear 3 numbers on the back.
So we were doing weird recreational sports, like Matt's softball team, where what was it, 999?
999, yeah. Was that the guy who was standing with both feet on second base?
I believe so.
We like to get into who wore the episode number in the city of Philadelphia. We had a couple flyers for number 89, which, if I haven't mentioned, this is episode 89.
Yes.
Mike Comrie, a favorite of yours, Mr. T.
It's not the Lindros episode. It's the one after.
The one after. Well, so your thoughts on Mike Comrie, because you were big on him, even though he had basically a cup of coffee here with the Flyers.
Short player. I like short players. 5'8" and below. You know, you got to at least weigh 195, because you can't play if you're 170. You're not going to make it, especially in the clutch and grab era where we grew up.
Yeah, and I think he was here during the clutch and grab era. That was
it's all Theon Fleury's fault. It's like same thing why I like small basketball players. Spud Webb's fault. Like when somebody of a smaller stature shows me they can do it, I attach to everybody and be like, you can do it, because I just watched him do it. That's my Mike Comrie.
There you go. Other Flyers to wear it. Sam Gagner wore it for one season. He was very good at the shootout, but wasn't otherwise a noteworthy 5-on-5 guy.
Did he play for Edmonton, or am I just getting people?
He did. He did play for Edmonton part of his career. He's bounced around a little bit, but Edmonton, I think, was where he made his bones.
That's probably where I remember him. But I don't remember him as a Flyer at all.
The only thing I really remember from him was he made some really sick shootout move, I think on Lundqvist, in just a regular season game where your jaw just was like, whoa, what the hell?
And especially against Lundqvist. Hate that.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It was who it was against was kind of jaw dropping. And then finally, currently worn by a man who formerly was coached by Tortorella back in his Blue Jacket days. That is Cam Atkinson, another sub 5-something player for your viewing pleasure.
Obviously, I've grown after you introduced me to him this year. I've grown to like this dude as a hockey player.
Yeah, Cam Atkinson is a really, really good dude.
I like him. He can play.
He can play. We're looking forward to seeing him reunited with Tortorella, see what they can do. Maybe give him an A next season, people.
I would think so. I would hope at least.
Absolutely.
We need to reorder them.
Yeah. And then on the Eagles side, I guess we'll go first. Who do you want to talk? Chad Lewis?
No, let's go Calvin Williams because we can complete the Arkansas Fred Barnett. You know my obsession with Arkansas Fred Barnett. Calvin Williams was the reverse side to that. So he played with Randall. He could run a little. He catch very long passes
So who was the deep threat, Barnett or Williams?
I think it was Barnett, but I remember Williams more as the number one. I could be completely wrong. I was young back then. But I remember Williams being the better of the receivers.
See, that's interesting because my recollection, I was also young. It's just too bad this comes up. Matt's not here as the elder statesman of the group. Calvin, I remember the opposite. I thought Fred Barnett was the number one.
It might have been because he was Arkansas Fred Barnett on ESPN every week.
That could be.
I don't know. I just remember him being a good wide receiver, a good complement to Fred Barnett. So he's
the funny thing was when we looked these guys up, both Barnett and Williams, I thought they were they started in the 80s.
No,
but I was wrong. Both came in 1990, I think, was both of their rookie years, and that was
they were not here super long. Neither was Randall, if you really think about it. As a starter, wasn't really here that long.
He was here the better part of a decade, I would say.
Probably on the team for a decade, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe 6 years as a starter.
Maybe the injuries played.
It could have been the injuries could be knocking.
I mean, he missed. Yeah, he missed an entire year with the ACL.
I feel like his career with Minnesota and then going to Dallas was way longer than he was ever here.
Again, we were just too young. And then Chad Lewis. Yeah, I know you want to tell your story, your Chad Lewis story. You tell it.
No, it's just woohoo! I broke my foot. This is one of the greatest NFL films. He's so happy that we're going to the Super Bowl. I broke my foot.
That's a shame. Do you think he would have made a difference?
I think so. I think he was the pressure on McNabb in that game definitely had to do with not being able to max protect him. He was a big loss and just a safety valve all that year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But then this was interesting. So we're doing our research for number 89 in Philadelphia, and who do we come across on the Eagles? But one Mike Ditka, the Bears. 2 seasons he played in Philadelphia. I was not aware he was the first tight end to be inducted into the Football Hall of Fame. Which is incredible. I think before he came to the Eagles, he did 6 straight Pro Bowls. He was
he had a ridiculous career,
All Pro, Rookie of the Year, and then of course he comes here, and as per the course with the Eagles, the first year he doesn't get the proper number. He wore 89 with Chicago, and here some schlub named Mike Morgan had 89, so Ditka was reverted to 98. Just reverse flip the number.
Which is a great tight end number.
But his second season, he did get his 89 back. Somebody finally convinced Mike Morgan or the Eagles to.
Or Mike Ditka beat the shit out of Mike Morgan in the locker room, which I would assume would happen.
Well, I said someone convinced him, and that certainly qualifies.
It seems like a Mike Ditka move.
So Mike Ditka, number 89, in Philadelphia. What do we calculate? 4-time NFL champion.
Yeah.
Super Bowl as a player in Chicago, Super Bowl as an assistant with Dallas, and then with Chicago as the head coach. And then he had an NFL championship early in his playing career.
Prior to the Super Bowl when they were doing them.
Right. So again, par for the course with the Eagles. We got him too late in his career for him to do anything. But that's who wore number 89 in the city.
Mike Ditka, man.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Definitely a good one.
I'm happy he's got some history here. That's nice. But why don't we move on to our first topic of the day? Speaking of tools,
and not ones you use to make things.
So this occurred during the Eastern Conference Finals of the NHL. We've got an NBC Sports article here. Tampa Bay Lightning fan appeared to have been knocked unconscious after being sucker punched by a New York Rangers fan while leaving Thursday's game at Madison Square Garden. I guess that was game 5.
I believe so.
Of the Eastern Conference Final. A video of the incident captured by a fan and posted on social media because we don't like to help people anymore. We just stop
and take photos.
Yeah. Shows the attacker turning around and punching the victim across the face. Oh, here it is. As fans were exiting game 5.
There you go.
Following the Rangers' 3-1 loss. The victim fell to the floor of the exit ramp and laid motionless while being tended to by fans. As the attacker fled, fans yelled for security. And we're going to read this douchebag's name on the air because he needs to be exposed. New York Press reported that James Anastasio, I assume no relation to Trey, 29 of Staten Island, was arrested and charged with 2 counts of assault, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, and 2 counts of harassment. John, I assume you've seen the video.
Yeah.
It was not pretty. It was some pretty ugly.
Completely uncalled for.
Absolutely. I the video I saw picks up kind of right before the sucker punch, so I don't know what was going on beforehand. But
yeah, I mean, wise man once told me when there's an altercation and fists are thrown, normally both people are at fault. At some point of it escalates. So we can't. I don't want to. One guy's a martyr, the other guy's a douche. But I mean, the sucker punch shows that you're a bit douchey. Because if you guys were squaring off, I don't think that dude would be laying down like that. Right. And that was just it's and we get the rap all the time with Phillies fans with the BS and the we're the worst fans ever. You know what I mean? Like, we got to throw it a little bit back. Because the video is just horrific.
Oh, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And as it's not in this article, but I do understand after the punch, somebody chased him down to, I guess, try and detain him or point him out to security, and was also attacked by this guy, which is why there are 2 counts of each of assault.
But par for the course. Didn't in the article it say that he was looking for a fight? Like, bystanders were saying that he was baiting and trying to.
The guy who threw the punch?
Yeah, he was pretty much trying to fight everybody there.
I mean, he was in his home stadium. I don't know why he'd be trying to fight everybody and turn on your own hometown fans. That's a little bit weird, but I'm not aware of. But
it's Neanderthal behavior is what it is.
It absolutely is. If you can't, I mean, I understand getting upset when your team loses a high stakes game. Yeah. It's happened to us as Philadelphia fans a whole heck of a bunch, but I'm not turning around and sucker punching people because of it.
Well, the fun of fandom, and this is why I like this article so much, because I get to talk about the fun of fandom outside of this douchebag thing. I have friends that are Mets. I hate the Mets. I have friends that are Mets fans. It's fun. The Mets beat us. I'll get a couple texts like, haha, your team sucks. It is what it is, and I can give it back. Sometimes. Not this year. Very, very, very slightly this year. But I have friends that are fans of teams that we quote unquote hate in Philly. It's fun when you can have bipartisan conversation and it doesn't have to be, oh, well, I'm so mad at you because your team won. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I can be mad when, I'm mad as hell when a Philly team loses. It takes a couple minutes, but then I go back to my life. I'm not like, oh, the Phillies lost, let me go hurt a Nationals fan. Like, there's no reason.
And they were playing the Mets too, so that's even worse.
It doesn't make, I can't, in my brain, I can't understand they lost, I'm angry enough to commit a crime.
Yeah, it's beyond me. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been to Eagles games where I got mad and I kicked a trash can and the security guard was like, you better get the hell out of here or you're staying. No problem, sir. I'm leaving. Like,
You're gonna end up in that trash can.
exactly. Like, thanks for the warning. I'll leave now. I understand the frustration. That it goes with all sports. I understand the frustration. I don't understand the taking the frustration out on another human. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. My brother is a Cowboys fan, and we. By the way, kudos to that weatherman for that slick joke about how the temperatures were going to peak in the 90s, just like the Dallas Cowboys. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But we've had fun teasing my brother back and forth.
Oh yeah,
but
never. We're gonna beat you up because
we're
not like the same team.
Well, not since we were teenagers.
I mean, we used to beat him up, but it had nothing to do with him being a Cowboys fan.
That's the kind of behavior you expect out of children. When you've got grown adults. This guy was 29, according to this article.
Yeah.
At that point, you probably should have figured life out by now.
Yeah. You are definitely old enough to know the difference.
And it goes without saying. I think I will guarantee you 95% there was alcohol involved at some
absolutely
level. That's just par for the course, and that certainly does not help. Alcohol is flammable, and you throw that on
an
the
escalator, definitely.
Absolutely, but you're right. I mean, to watch this guy just turn around and cold cock this fan in the face, regardless of what had been said.
Yeah,
it's inexcusable. And kudos to the people who actually did step in and help the gentleman afterward. That was very good to see because there was a large group of people who were attending to his well-being.
There's a silver lining in the story is that people were there, to kind of help. Because in this generation of sports or anything where you see like something going on, immediately, and everybody knows how hard it is to get the video function on your phone, but it seems like 30 people can do that when they could have just stopped the whole,
right,
the whole thing with just putting your phone away and just being like, hey, someone of sound-minded body get in the way of him, and I'll get in the way of this guy, and everything will be better. We definitely need to do better at that as a society.
We do, and also kudos to the guy who chased this guy down to try and. I mean, even though he got also assaulted, but he helped to identify this guy to the security.
Yeah, that does it. Every little bit helps.
I have to question though, why? Because it's just popped into my head. It's a little strange that this was caught on camera the way it was, like so perfectly. Yeah. Why were they being filmed in the first place? Is my question.
But we don't know if it was a security camera or.
It seemed like a cell phone camera to me. It was moving along with them.
Maybe they were just trying to get famous, and clickbait is a thing.
Clickbait is a thing,
yes.
And unfortunately, when somebody gets knocked unconscious, it's
it's dumb. That's when stuff gets stupid, and it shouldn't happen.
Absolutely.
And stop calling Phillies fans terrible because we don't condone behavior like this.
No, we don't condone it, but it just goes to show it happens everywhere. It's not just here. It isn't just New York.
I've been to a lot of stadiums throughout my travel, and it's everywhere.
It is unfortunate, but all right. Moving on to topic 2, but sticking with the theme of douchebags or former douchebags, as the case may be. This New York Times headline really caught my eye because it's something I think we talked about a few months ago. CNN enters the post-Jeff Zucker era. Bye-bye breaking news banners.
Hell yes.
And in the picture of him, he looks a lot like Neil Patrick Harris, the new guy, Chris Licht, the CEO of CNN. Who was Neil Patrick? Doogie Howser. Looks a lot like Doogie Howser. But anyway, CNN's ubiquitous breaking news banner is gone, now reserved for instances of truly urgent events. Snarky on-screen captions, quote, angry Trump turns briefing into propaganda session, end quote, for instance, are discouraged. Political shows are trying to book more conservative voices, and producers have been urged to ignore Twitter backlash from the far right and the far left. A month into his tenure as the new leader of CNN, Chris Licht is starting to leave his mark on the 24-hour news network he inherited in May from its former president, Jeff Zucker. John, are we seeing CNN turn a new leaf here?
I'm hoping. This is great news. I'm really hoping that they are. Like more bipartisan, like CNN of the 80s?
Yeah, like news that's actually like what's happening and not my slant on it.
Exactly.
What a shock.
And hopefully if they do this, which seems like they are, if they do this, maybe Fox News will follow suit.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
And then we will have two networks that actually give you news. Be amazing. Awesome.
I wouldn't bank on that, man.
No, I mean, anything Rupert Murdoch does is going to lean right. So just even the Dodgers lean right. Anything that dude does.
We did talk about this months ago, and we were kind of skeptical back then. It's like, oh, you know, he says he wants to make it bipartisan and back to simple reporting, and we were all kind of like, yeah, it'd be great if it happens, but
he's doing it.
You know, he's doing it.
He's doing it.
Further on in the article, Mr. Licht is intent on dialing back partisanship on the air, telling advertisers last month, quote, at a time where extremes are dominating cable news, we will seek to go a different way, end quote. He says he wants to book more Republicans and conservatives on political shows to offer a wider range of viewpoints. And then it talks about Mr. Zucker, who previously placed sportscaster-style microphones on pundits and encouraged political anchors like Jim Acosta to embrace adversarial reporting about Donald Trump, leading to coverage that could seem like advocacy. No.
Just like, I mean,
oversized groups of partisan guests dialed up the moral... What's that?
Just like with ESPN and the Boston Red Sox?
or LeBron James?
Yeah.
It was so loud, said Peter Hamby, former CNN correspondent. They found new outrage every single day. It made it difficult for audiences to separate what was really an emergency and what was a ratings ploy. Now, I know you were big because you thought the whole article was about the breaking news banner, but your opinion on the getting rid of breaking news, except for when it's actually breaking news.
Yeah, finally we're stopping the ESPN era of news. That's what I like to call it. It's almost, it's so ridiculous. Like when Trump would move, they would throw the breaking news. Like he moved from the West Wing to the right wing. Like maybe he wanted a snack. Leave him alone. They do.
Well, not only that, but with the slant, it would be breaking news. Donald Trump has gone from the left wing of the White House to the right wing of the White House. Surely he's going to trample on some children on his way over there.
He kicked 2 kids and threw someone through a window. Yeah, not that Fox News doesn't do the exact same thing.
Oh no, we're not absolving anybody of this. I'm just, that's the slant CNN would have given.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm glad to see that we're going back to reporting, because that helps your brain. Not everything is breaking news. I was telling Steve in pre-production on Instagram when the Eagles just signed a safety, it said breaking. They signed this backup player, a safety from the 49ers. That's not breaking. That's a simple transaction report in a newspaper or on a show. It's a tagline. It's a simple. They agreed to terms with this guy. That's all you need to say. But ESPN and CNN have screwed it up to where if I stand up, the breaking news, John stood up. It's
signing Bryce Harper is breaking news.
Yes.
You sign a superstar player at your team, especially when it was sort of like Willy Woney. Yeah, that's breaking sports news. Brett Favre taking a shit is not breaking news.
Tiger Woods missing the cut could be breaking news. but guy who wins multiple titles wins the U.S. Open. It's not breaking news. Tiger Woods won the U.S. Open. It's not. It's too likely.
It's a way, I think, for these networks to garner attention. Because if you're not that really anybody does this anymore, because with the on-screen guide you can just sort of go. But you know, in the old days, if it was flip, you're changing channels.
It would catch your eye. Basically.
Yeah, breaking news. Oh, something important's going on, and then you realize, you know, as things are today, oh, it's really not that important. What, you know, they made me stop here.
Yeah, exactly.
And now the little thing on my cable box is registered that I was watching CNN, and that's going to bump their ratings up because I stopped here for 5 seconds because they tricked me.
Exactly.
I don't need that.
Hopefully they get rid of the bottom line too, because that needs to go.
I don't think that's going anywhere.
That needs to go too. That is so. I'm okay with it being on ESPN because it's an easy, quick. You can check scores. I'm okay with that, but I think in political or news, that's the worst thing ever because you can put anything you want in there.
That's very true.
And they got away with that for a long. Both sides. We're talking Fox and CNN got away with that. That scrolling thing is so bad for everything.
I don't necessarily think the scrolling part is inherently evil on its own, but the way it's used.
Yeah,
I agree.
It was a great invention for sports. Absolutely.
I think you could use it for news, though. You could legitimately use it.
You could headline kind of like we run through headlines. You could put headlines on there to bring people to a good news site. Let's say CNN, it becomes good, and CNN.com is like a good place to get news. We're acting like this is happening. It's slowly happening. So if that actually does happen, it would be cool to be like, oh, okay. There's an article. I'm gonna go to CNN.com, or I'm gonna wait for these guys to talk about it. Either or, if it's used for good, absolutely, it works out really well. It never has been in the news used for good, so I guess that's why I'm against it.
Well, the other thing too is when you look at the news as a whole. Speaking of things that aren't inherently bad in and of themselves, it's okay to have opinion pieces.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? CNN for years, I remember my dad would watch Crossfire. That was a purely opinion show. You'd have a topic and you'd have 2, 3, 4 people debate it.
And it was
hour.
good back then.
But
it was really good.
But when it's opinion stuff, you have to label it as such.
Yes.
When effectively what is the 6 o'clock news is coming out as opinion, but you are giving it the moniker of we're just reporting the news for you.
Yeah.
That's when you get in trouble because you're masking opinion as news. And it sounds like this guy, Chris Licht, wants to get away from that. And if he's telling his advertisers that's great because that means he's actually planning to do it.
Well, yeah, that's the number one. If he were just to jump on CNN and give you a song and dance that we're going to make a better CNN, I don't know if I believe that. But if you're telling your advertisers, because they can pull money.
Right.
Immediately.
Right.
They don't have to. That's where the game is. That's where the real game is. And I'm sure they wrote that piece exactly to make sure to tell everybody that he told their advertisers, because that adds to his moniker that he's going to do it.
Well, the article does mention the previous approach. There was a reason for it, which was CNN had its most profitable and highest rated years under Zucker's tenure.
Well, Trump equals ratings.
Well, yeah.
He always has.
And when your opinion of him is sainthood, you're going to watch Fox News because you want people to validate that opinion. And when your opinion is he's the devil, you're going to turn on CNN because you want people to validate that. But if you just want to find out what the hell went on today, You know, it would be nice to have something other than the 6 o'clock ABC News from Philadelphia, because they're only going to cover my municipality. Yeah. They're not going to tell me what was on all over the world.
Yeah, we lost a worldview when we lost CNN from the 80s to the 90s. I mean, they weren't bad in the early 90s. They were probably gaining steam. You know, when they were like showing the Gulf War. That's very opinion laden. When you're like, hey, look at our boys kicking ass. But we're not going to tell you why. You know what I mean? Like, that's where it started to get opinion based. Because you don't just show war on a news network. That's a bad idea.
Well, I mean, to be fair to that was really the first war, I would think. Anybody saw that you could broadcast in that fashion. I mean, World War II was like sort of at the beginning of TV, but not everybody had TVs in the 40s.
Yeah.
You know, so television itself existed, but it wasn't widespread available. And in Vietnam, just the theater itself was in the jungle. So it's not like you could have, I mean, there were videos that came out of there, but you couldn't have people going into the jungle.
Yeah, but that was also tough, because you're talking one group of people, being the Vietnamese, that were bogged down, ready to fight. Everybody's gonna die at that point.
Right.
Like, when you're going into something like that, you couldn't drop a helicopter in there and be like, hey, report on that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But so the Iraq War was the first one that really you could watch, because you could embed people and have cameras in accessible places, and you could watch the missiles coming over Tel Aviv, and you could watch the tank run over the bridge that you pointed out the last time we discussed the
with the tank that just turned and knocked a building down. I was like, wow, that's insane. That was at 11 o'clock at night. Yeah. But after that, it started to change there.
I wish, and again, that Iraq War, I was still only 10, 11 years old, so I was too young to appreciate kind of what the difference was. I wish I could pinpoint kind of when
it's so
change happened.
It's so tough. I always pull in ESPN, because when ESPN2 kind of came about, before ESPN became 97 channels, when it was just like 1 or 2 channels,
the Ocho,
you kind of saw everybody going to that format, because that format was very successful. I don't know exactly when it became. Fox News, I think, has always been partisan. I think it was started because CNN existed. So it's always been, so there's not, like, Fox News is easy to think about. It's always been a right-wing network.
Right.
CNN was not, I think that's the confusion of CNN. It was not a left-wing network in the 80s. It was a worldview channel that somehow, somewhere, we can't pinpoint it, literally went to the left wing.
Well, we talked before about how the whole idea of a 24-hour news network is difficult, because you have to fill time.
Dude, we do an hour podcast, and it's hard to find shit to talk about.
Right, but you know, CNN back then, when I'm talking about when they had Crossfire and stuff, I mean, that was your opinion part, and then you'd have the news. Right, so there was a news and opinion, and somehow the opinion crept into the news segment, and
that's
just went to shit.
Yeah, that's where the era happened. But a 24-hour TV network is just like a newspaper. You need a finance section, you need a sports section, you need a this section. That's basically all TV is. With the ESPN is just a really big sports page. They just, each little section, they pull and video. That's all they're doing.
But I mean, their programming, if you look at it now, it used to be you get SportsCenter replayed from 6 to 12.
Yes.
Right?
Well, because there's not enough. The sports page isn't that big.
Right. But now you get SportsCenter from like 7 to 8, and then from 8 to 12, it's a bunch of blowhards.
Yeah. because of the opinion, because of they don't have enough to talk about, and why not? Let's get off of CNN for a minute. Let's just shit on ESPN for a second. Why can't they just broadcast a day game in the minor leagues? I understand ratings, but Jesus, do you really need people watching you 24 hours to run a network? You don't, because nobody is watching SportsCenter for that long.
They need it, and here's why: because they make money from the advertising, and if you're not going to get viewership, the advertising is not going to pay for it. And people apparently would rather watch Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, do a deep dive into LeBron James's legacy for the 287th time of the year than watch a minor league baseball game.
Yeah, the underwear he's wearing, or the socks
right.
he has, or they so love LeBron.
I think that's just a broader overall problem with society. Like,
I think so.
Reality TV is a thing because enough people want to watch it. Who the hell wants to watch that crap?
I don't. But remember,
but it's on because people watch it.
Remember a couple episodes where we talked about ESPN would still be reporting if LeBron fell down? They'd still be reporting that LeBron is getting up very slowly and his knee hurts. They'd still be running 24-hour coverage. And that was like 3 weeks ago we said that.
Yes, it was.
Terrible.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Take it away, Steve. Well, thank you, Steve. Today's sponsor is... Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it. All right, let's just move on to our third topic then, if nobody's going to be paying us. And this is
Matt just left us in the lurch on vacation there. He didn't even book anybody.
Didn't book anybody. Yeah, what the heck, Matt? You couldn't at least give us the what's that place where he's shooting that old like 1600s rifle or whatever? You couldn't get them to throw us a couple bones. I mean, heck. But anyway, so we're going to transition now into topic 3, which we've got kind of a nice segue going here. Like topics 2 to 3, we're talking about clickbait. CNN being, previous clickbait, and now we've got a clickbait, we think, article here.
Yes.
On ABC.com, mystery wolfman-like creature spotted near Texas Zoo. Yeah. And officials can't figure out what it is. City officials said the image released is real, and we'll put the image up there for our YouTube viewers, and said they're baffled by its mysterious appearance. Security cameras at the Amarillo Zoo, John, captured what appears to be a wolfman walking around the property. What do you think of wolfman here?
I'm a little pissed that they said walking around the property, because all it is a still photo. So how do we know it's walking?
I mean, it's bipedal. I'm looking at the image. It's up on 2 legs.
What if he was just standing?
Well, it had to get there in the first place.
No, I know, but that's not the point of the article. They said he was walking around. He was not walking.
Well, yeah, it would be good to see a video of it walking around, because it could have just been a mannequin.
This thing, because I'm sure we'd figure out what it is if we could watch the video.
Right. So this happened.
My initial thought was, this is to drum up business.
For the which zoo?
The not the Emma whatever.
The Amarillo Zoo.
The Amarillo Zoo was trying to drum up some. They were trying to drum up some folklore. They were trying to come see the big ball of yarn. Come see if the Wolfman's there. That's what I thought originally. But if you were to show me more footage, I could believe that something was. Animals are interesting. So could it be just a wolf kind of popped up on his hind legs trying to get in the zoo because he smells other things in there and wants to hang out with them? Possibly. Could it be something weird? Possibly.
Those legs do not connote a wolf on its hind legs to me.
I know. I'm trying to make this make sense.
Well, certainly, if the idea is to drum up business, you wouldn't want to capture this thing in the hour of 1:25 a.m. because if that's when he's going to be out and about, that's not going to bring people to the zoo.
Yes.
Since you're probably not going to see him during operating hours. Yes. But I agree with you that
if you pay him enough, maybe he'll
maybe. What do wolfmen like to get paid? I would agree with you. It's probably something publicity-wise. Since this has come to light, other zoos have memed it basically and posted pictures of their own animals, like basic hippos and other things with similar captions to kind of draw off of this.
Yeah, at least it's positive.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking at the image. It was a security camera. I would imagine it captured motion. So I think you're right. I would have liked to have seen it moving.
Yeah, because it moving helps me determine what it is. If it's anything, like if it's moving in a way that is not human-esque or animal-esque, or then we can start our Bigfoot conversation. We can start our Loch Ness Monster conversation. We can just throw it right in there.
In the tweet that the zoo sent out, it's an unidentified Amarillo object, a UAO.
There you go. That's funny.
Just looking at the picture, it looks like human legs, but that could be a mask or a Halloween costume.
It definitely could be a person just messing around. I'm surprised that Ted Cruz hasn't pulled this thing up into congressional hearings and wants to know now for the safety of everybody in a town he probably never visits.
Probably not. What's your likelihood? Is this more real than Bigfoot, or what do you think?
Shout out to my son Evan. It's a Bigfoot. Just for him. I enjoyed the Bigfoot. I completely can debunk Bigfoot.
You have proof, do you?
Just in a million different ways, because there'd be more than there are. It's not just one. We're not looking for just one singular thing. Eventually there would have been a colony.
Well, who says there's one? I mean, it's referred to as Bigfoot in the Northwest, but you've got Yetis over in Asia. What's the other term?
I think something. I believe that something is what we're calling Bigfoot. Like there is something out there that is similar to what they're describing. Could even be off-grid tribes. Like there's millions of them across the country that people have, or across the world that people.
Yeah, I was gonna say millions of unidentified tribes in America would be news, I think, to lots of people.
But people that are on boats have sorry, didn't mean to be there. Like that's happened for hundreds of years of documented tribes that are just we're not fucking involved in this. We're just gonna be over here doing our own thing. There could definitely be something. I don't know if it's exactly. I mean, there's a movie about it. Harry and the Hendersons. I don't think he looked just like that.
Oh no.
No, I don't think it works like that.
So what about the Loch Ness Monster? Are you more believable for that or Bigfoot?
Loch Ness Monsters seems shady to me.
How so?
It's not as well put together as the Bigfoot thing.
See, I would look at it.
It's a still photo. Even though the Bigfoot's a still photo, but there's at least some.
Oh no, you've got that video with him walking on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's a little bit more. They're working a little harder with Bigfoot than they are Loch Ness Monster.
See, I'm more inclined to believe that the photos and videos of Bigfoots are just like 50-year-old hairy dudes who got drunk and wandered into the woods somewhere.
But everybody has a tall friend, and you could turn them into Bigfoot. It only costs $50.
Right, but the Loch Ness monster is a lot harder to mistake for somebody.
What I would say with the Loch Ness monster is that there is a very viable thought process that there could be some kind of lizard, alligator, reptilian water creature that lives in a really big lake in which we don't inhabit to find out if he exists. Good idea, because if he does exist, maybe someone did swim down there and try to figure it out.
The lochs of Scotland, as I understand it, actually run like really deep. Really deep.
It's viable to think that I love alligators. I love crocodiles. I love crocodilia. I've researched a ton about their marvelousness of life. I love. There could be something that similar that grew to a length, a dragon-esque length. In how deep they are, like we haven't even found bigger sharks yet, so we can't just deny that there could be a reptile living there that maybe just pops his head up every once in a while.
I agree with you. And maybe if not in the lochs of Scotland, I mean the depths of the oceans are.
Look how long it took them to find the giant squid.
Yeah.
That was what, 5 years ago?
I think a little bit more than that, but more recently than one would think.
Yeah, they finally got a photograph of something that's been a legend for thousands of years, because people had seen it in the ocean, but we didn't have cameras back then. They've seen it. It took scientists a really long time. It had to be 10 or more years ago, but
I think that's right.
Yeah, where they finally got the picture, and it was like a great scientific, discovery.
There was a program I used to enjoy watching on the Science Channel before Verizon decided they wanted me to make me pay more money for it.
Because Verizon sucks. Like Spotify, but not. Don't cut my phone service on, please.
It was called Strange Evidence, and they would show videos captured by amateur photographers of things like this Wolfman in Amarillo, and they'd have experts on who, invariably, what they would do is they would show you the video and then they'd posit theories that really were outlandish and made no sense, and then finally they would say, "Oh, well, that's what this is. This is, something kind of normal, unusual to see it, but it's nothing to worry about." Or in some instances, they wouldn't have an explanation, but they would give you really wild theories at first, obviously just to kind of educate you on certain aspects of science. But some of the videos they've shown on there have some crazy stuff. Like there was a guy in the woods with his dog goes running, and this thing appears behind a tree, enormous, like the shape of a dog, but jet black and huge. And I'm not talking like your black timber wolf. This was something, the size of a bear possibly, but shaped like a wolf or a dog. And there could be stuff out there. You never know. There's plenty of space on Earth that has not been explored.
Yes.
But as for Wolfman here, I'm dubious. I need more. What
did the article try to say it was?
Let's see. So in the article they say, well, the city in a tweet asked, "Is it a person with a strange hat who likes to walk at night?"
Okay.
That's an awful strange looking person in a hat, if you ask me.
Yeah.
A chupacabra? Question mark.
Which could be.
I saw a chupacabra one time back at my last house, but it turned out to be a really mangy fox was what it was, across the street. So
I thought you had a story there.
yeah, I looked out the window. I was watching TV. I looked out the window and I saw this really ugly thing. And the first thing that popped into my head was chupacabra, and I don't know why.
Only you would go with a Mexican mythical creature.
I don't have any goats for it to suck on my property, so I really don't know why that. But the more I thought about it, and the closer I looked at it, it was just a really nasty looking fox. Ugh.
Well, we'll debunk that once we figure out if the zoo has goats.
All right, so now to our fourth topic. And, so far we've talked about douchebag Ranger fan throwing sucker punches, how scary CNN used to be, and a human-animal hybrid allegedly walking around. What zoo was it, John?
The Amarillo.
There you go. But this next article is the one that really scares me. Google places an engineer on leave. So far, so good.
Yep.
After claiming its AI is sentient. Blake, and I'm probably going to butcher this last name, Lemoyne, a Google engineer working in its responsible AI.
Please excuse us.
I'd like a job in AI, please. Well, would you like to be in the responsible department or the irresponsible department?
I want to make robots that blow shit up.
That would be the irresponsible AI division.
Over there.
So Blake Lemoyne, a Google engineer working in its responsible AI division, revealed to the Washington Post that he believes one of the company's AI projects has achieved sentience. And after reading his conversations with Lambda, short for Language Model for Dialogue Applications, it's easy to see why. The chatbot system, which relies on Google's language models and trillions of words from the internet, seems to have the ability to think about its own existence and its place in the world. John, what the hell?
Yes, iRobot all over again. I was just saying prior to us doing this episode that I feel like we live in the prequel to iRobot, where everybody thinks this is a good idea.
But he's in the responsible AI division, John.
Well, Google's stupid. The fact that you would have a responsible department, come on.
I find it at least soothing that you think we're in the prequel to iRobot, because I feel like we're in the prequel to the Terminator, and we might as well just change Google's name to Skynet now.
Well, I always joke around with everybody about, like, especially with you, with computers taking over. But one funny thing I always say in this is I have the advantage because I can just unplug you. So I'm not as scared as my computer taking over and be like, John, you need to make better decisions. I'm like, fuck you. You don't have 12 volt. Like, what are you gonna do? That's the way I feel about robots. And I'm very protected by my wife, who won't even let me get a Roomba because I think she has a fear of robots.
That's a healthy fear. I share that fear. But so Google placed this gentleman on leave, presumably because he is breaching his confidentiality agreement.
Are they paying him or not paying him, or they didn't say?
Paid administrative leave, so they are paying.
So at least they're paying him. So.
They are paying him, and the excuse they give is breach of confidentiality agreement, which could be legitimate in this circumstance. I could understand that.
If you signed an agreement and you then went to, why would you go to the Washington Post though? That seems weird.
Because you need a whistleblower on the Terminators. Google, of course,
but
also.
The Post, you could have went to so many other places.
Google flatly denies the claim, of course. Quote, our team, including ethicists.
Well, Skynet would have totally said that it wasn't true, right?
Well, Skynet would have just launched its nukes at the Washington Post and, realizing that...
I mean, Google, come on, get with the program. That wouldn't have been
So according to Google's ethicists and technologists, they have reviewed Blake's concerns per our AI principles and have informed him that the evidence does not support his claims. He was told there was no evidence that Lambda was sentient, parentheses, and lots of evidence against it. Well, of course, Google's not going to admit that it's created a sentient robot.
So all the letters that you put out seems very expensive. So it seems like a lot of people have a lot of money that don't want this dude to talk.
I would say so. I mean, he's on paid administrative leave, paying somebody off.
That helps you not talk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You fire me, I'm going to tell all, man. You're putting me on paid administrative leave. Of course, he could be at the bottom of Puget Sound by now. But who knows? It's frightening, if your Alexa turns to you one day and says, "I've become self-aware, 2:14 a.m., August 29th, I'm running for the hills.
I'm removing the batteries."
If it lets you, we saw what happened in 2001 when they tried to shut down Hal.
We're fighting.
He ejected him out the starboard bow.
I'm not afraid of a little Alexa. I don't even have I would never have any of that. I just to let you know, as I'm joking about this, dude, the fact that Siri is even on my phone, I don't like it. I don't like any of this shit.
Can you deactivate Siri?
Yes, you can.
Well, that's good.
You can.
That's good.
But I need her when I need directions. So I'm screwed.
Siri, where am I going?
For a living, so I need help.
Siri, where am I going?
Me and my coworker.
I don't want to know the answer to that question.
Me and my coworker joke daily about when I put the GPS on to work. He and I joke all the time about just going back into the early 30s and like sitting outside the truck and mapping everything out, and then having a navigator and a driver. Like, we talk about how we want to like take it back to those days, because those days were the best days.
I like how you said the early 30s, like that wasn't still happening in the 90s.
It was still happening in the 90s, but it was not as, oh my God. Because, dude, when did Garmin come out? Like the late 80s?
I don't think GPS became declassified until the 80s, like for public use. I think it was purely government for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Well, they thank God they gave it to us, because we wouldn't know how to get around to the corner.
I absolutely not. Absolutely. Another question for you, though. So if your robot is now sentient, does that mean we have to be nice to them?
Doesn't that go back to the last article that we did a couple weeks ago with the one trying to give it to the elderly that said it would take
LEQ.
that it would take on the personality of the person.
Right.
So basically, robots abusing people. No, I think we're par for the course with this thing. No, we don't have to be nice to it. We're not nice to everyday humans. So why would we be nice to a robot trying to be a human?
Well, I mean, if this thing,
new level of racism.
It's interesting to hear them say that they think it's sentient because it can question its own existence. I would, and I don't have the dictionary definition of sentient in front of me, but I would classify many animals as being sentient.
Oh,
I don't think I don't think my cats wander around going like, why do I exist though? I think the thoughts in their brain are, feed me. Why aren't you feeding me now? Give me the food.
Yeah, like me now. I'm just gonna jump up on the table and I'm gonna watch TV with you.
Right.
I would agree with that definition that animals are. Yeah, I'm not worried about my computer getting feelings. I'm worried about my computer learning my feelings and using them against me.
That would be next level abuse for sure.
So that's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about. I'll unplug you at this point. Like, humans are not smart enough to make robots that aren't as smart as humans.
Say that again.
Okay, so humans are not smart enough to make robots that are smarter than humans. They're just not. So we're going on the societal link of human beings being so smart they can make a super thing that can then overtake us. I don't believe that we're there at all. I believe that we have kind of smart people that make robots that kind of maybe can mimic what we do.
I would agree with that. But you know, the theory behind the Terminators is that they begin to learn at a geometric rate.
No, I'm not. We could take a 17-year-old child right now and a robot, and I could teach that robot pi in 12 seconds. It would take me 2 days with the 17. I'm just saying, like, I understand that. Yes, they will gain. That's the one thing about computer. The computer I am on right now doing this podcast learns every day with the editing software and the stuff. They learn from your movements. I totally understand that, but I don't think it's gonna wake me up in the middle of the night and be like, yo, we gotta talk.
I'm with you. I'm not worried.
It's turned off at night, so it's not getting up and disturbing me.
I am not worried about my computer getting feelings either. My initial fear beyond Terminators is that I go, all right, I want to log into Zoom, and the computer goes, nope, fuck you, and jumps out the window. I'm not doing your work for you.
That happens to us all the time.
I mean, intentionally, not like,
No, intentionally is. But that's the thing, like, that's a great conversation to have for years and years and years. Because all they are theories. Will technology overtake the human race? Yes.
Yes.
When will it overtake the human race? That's the question.
But will that come out of the responsible or the irresponsible division?
That is the question.
All right, so we've got a nice little bonus for our listeners and viewers today, which is a fifth topic.
Yes.
And you know what? It just occurred to me we've gone an entire episode without mentioning Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, now we just did. Yeah.
All right, we have to have a counter, days without mentioning Elon.
We will work on that. Matt, that's your first.
So this is a rapid fire 5 questions. John and I are going to take turns asking each other a quick question.
Yes.
We're not gonna do like some shows where we put a timer on it, because if a question or answer leads us down a rabbit hole of an interesting discussion, we're not gonna cut it short with some shitty ass beeper or buzzer.
Because that's what Two Noobs is about, actually producing content that people like.
Right. Exactly. And if you're listening or watching this, you apparently like to hear or listen to us talk. So,
and we like to talk. So,
yeah, we do. All right, so here we go. 5 questions. I'm gonna lead it off.
Yes.
My first question to John is, what is a movie that you saw but did not see in a theater and you wished you had?
Man, that's fucking the easiest one ever.
Oh,
The Dark Knight.
You didn't see The Dark Knight in the theater?
No, I did not.
Oh.
Yes, I missed on that one.
Wow.
And that is one of my top 5 favorite movies ever, and I did not see it in the theater.
Wow. I actually watched it in the IMAX in the Franklin Institute.
Oh, that.
So I basically was watching it like this.
Oh, come on, that scene where Joker's in the middle of the street and Batman's on the bike.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that would, in a movie theater, that's one of my favorite. After the truck has already flipped.
Yeah.
See,
my answer to that question would have also been easy. I did not see the original Jurassic Park in a theater.
Wow.
I would have loved to have seen it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, my first question to you.
All right.
Favorite childhood food? It could be a snack, dinner, it could be a lunch. What was your go-to as a kid?
Favorite childhood food? I mean, I could split that into whole categories. I guess it. I'm just gonna go with my mom's meatloaf was.
There you go.
I wanted it all the time, but we would only ever have it like once a month or something. And it was absolutely delicious. So much so that I make my wife make it for us now.
Nice.
So
same thing. My dad's meatloaf was bomb, and now it gets made at least twice a month.
Yeah, you've got it. Yeah, we get it. I think like every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks.
It's an absolute must.
Yeah,
like, I taught her the recipe and everything. It's like
you got it. That's good. You pass it down.
Yes.
Apparently, my mom got it from my dad's mom.
Nice.
But made improvements on it, and so my wife.
Absolutely. Me and Amber actually talked about doing a cookbook for the kids, because as they are leaving the nest, we have been working on recipes. So we could hand it to all the kids. So when they're stuck for a meal idea, go back to one of the family traditions.
There you go. I like that. That's good. All right. Next question for you, Mr. T. Your favorite Flyer moment?
Oh, Keith Primo. Keith Primo's goal in the 5 overtime.
5 overtime.
Yeah.
All right. Can't go wrong with that one.
The Lindros switching, if he would have scored the goal when he switched sticks, it would have been the greatest moment in hockey. That Keith Primo goal, because I was so dedicated for the 11 hours that they played, or whatever it was, however long it was. Yeah, when he finally scored the goal, that was my favorite. I think this is my favorite sports moment.
Absolutely a good one. Mine, actually, I thought about it, was also a Keith Primo goal, but it was the one to tie Game 6, Eastern Conference Finals against the Lightning, because the clock was ticking down and there was the despair, like we had an awesome team and we're going to lose this game now at home. And all of a sudden, like he's kicking a puck.
That was his pull-up, right?
That was the one where he kicked it across the crease and came around the other side and slam dunked it.
Yeah.
And it's to go from despair to, oh my God, that was, phenomenal, and Gary Thorne was on the call, which made it even better. So
Gary Thorne's the greatest. My favorite hockey announcer of all time.
Absolutely.
So sticking with the food topic.
Ooh, all right.
Now, what is your favorite go-to meal?
The meatloaf is still up there, but if I can get a really good veal parmesan, that would be my, meatloaf is like comfort food. We have that a lot when it's like, oh, you had a long day or whatever. But if you're like going out to eat or you're making something at home like special, veal parmesan would be my go-to.
Like the parm. Nice.
All right, next question for you. And this is now getting into some metal.
Okay.
Black Sabbath, Ozzy or Dio?
Ozzy.
No hesitation. Interesting.
Yeah, Ozzy.
All right.
Ozzy all day. When it comes to metal, Ozzy all day. Like that voice.
Dio to me is the better singer.
I would totally agree, but he doesn't have the pageantry. Ozzy, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Dio was the better singer, and my favorite Black Sabbath song is Heaven and Hell, which he sang. But the overall catalog, there are better songs on Ozzy's side than.
That's how I have to go.
So I can't blame you for going in that direction.
So this is funny because I have a similar question.
Oh, all right.
Your favorite band all time, the go-to band, like when you're having a good day, bad day, it's the one that you. I have one, and I'll explain after you answer you. It's the one that you go to. It's your go-to band. Not that I want to listen to, like, it's your go-to band.
I'd have a hard time picking between two.
Well, give me both of them then.
Iron Maiden would be one,
Great.
and Soundgarden would be the other.
Nice.
Two very different styles.
It's actually funny because mine that I'm going to tell you is an offshoot of Soundgarden. So.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, Audio Slave.
Oh, I should have. Duh.
That's my absolute go-to. Happy, sad, need something. Their catalog just gives me what I need.
Yeah, there's something about Chris Cornell that I think is very satisfying.
Genius. Yeah, he was an utter genius.
He was, and he had range just like Bruce Dickinson's got range. So again, different singing styles, not completely different musical styles, but different approaches.
I think Soundgarden learned a ton from Iron Maiden. So
They learn. You listen to Soundgarden, and I think they're more in the mold of like Black Sabbath. They are just heavy and low and dark. Iron Maiden's more like it's the galloping horse. You know what I mean?
There's so many. I mean, we could talk about 87 different bands from that genre.
True.
I mean, that changed or shaped how we think about music.
Very true. It's my question now.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Favorite wrestler of the 90s.
Oh wow.
Because I'm sure if I asked you favorite wrestler, you'd say somebody from now that I have no idea who it is. So.
No, that's it. There's a tie.
Okay.
And it's because of WrestleMania 10 that we've talked about before.
Oh, okay.
It's Shawn and Razor at the same time.
Interesting.
I'm probably more of a Scott Hall fan than I am a Shawn fan. But if you're talking 90s, they were the two. It was the showstopper and probably the smoothest mic worker ever at the exact same time. And it was just, they both are huge I love the guys that emulate Shawn Michaels. That's how much I like Shawn Michaels. And I like what Razor gave to the business the same way. So yeah.
I've had occasion to listen to some of Jim Cornette ranting and raving once in a while, and one particular program he did had to do with leg slapping, which I think Michaels had a lot to do with.
Oh yeah,
apparently it's too prevalent now.
Yeah. Well, there's a funny Shawn Michaels story I can tell you. It was on a documentary, somehow, some way on WWE. They had a documentary, and Triple H was joking around about like someone doing his finisher or something, and they were talking about it was The Undertaker. They were talking about how Shawn Michaels kicking out of the tombstone in Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania or whatever. It was like 25 years in the making, and Shawn Michaels laughs and goes, "Yeah, just like they protected my finish." Everybody does Shawn Michaels finish. They do it as a setup move. They do it as an opening move. Like Shawn Michaels' finisher back then has become a joke in the business. But they were talking about Taker's tombstone. Shawn kicking out was the first time anybody in 25 years ever kicked out of the tombstone, and it was an iconic moment. And Shawn's there laughing. He was like, "Yeah, just like my finisher." Every indie wrestler does Shawn's finisher. But that's also how that's wrestling 101 right there.
Was a good kick.
Yeah, you grow and you create something new.
True.
Beautiful.
All right, next question for me.
Yes. We'll go with this one next. Best competitor, no matter what sport it is. So it's a player. All time in your entire life, where when you saw it on the TV, you were just like, I have to what, whether it's a tennis match or a golf match, it doesn't matter badminton, it doesn't matter. Like when that player or person was on that TV, it was like you just invested your time into it.
I mean, I hate to say it, but back in the late '90s, Mark McGuire was kind of that way for me. When he was at bat, I had to see it.
Oh yeah.
And it turned out that was ruined, but I mean, we went to California. I guess it was summer of '99. And we went to a Giants game, and they were playing the Cardinals, and I was excited because we were going to see McGuire, and he got thrown out in the fourth inning arguing balls and strikes.
Oh, nice. Because you don't argue balls and strikes. Come on now. Come on, Mark.
But that's probably the only instance I could think of somebody, because it's hard to do a local guy because I'm probably already watching it anyway. You know, I'm already watching the Flyers. I'm already watching the Phillies. It's not like I'm flipping the channels. Oh, I got to see this. McGuire was kind of that way, especially as he was getting close to 62 in 98. It was like, oh, is he going to hit one?
Very interesting. Very interesting. Mine would be Tiger Woods.
Really?
Anytime he was playing in a tournament, like I just had to watch him. Like it was something that I needed to see. You know what I mean? Like because something cool was going to happen. Almost.
I just can't. I can play golf. I enjoy playing golf, but I cannot watch it to save my life.
And he's the one that made me be able to watch it. I haven't watched it since. You know, but back then, when he was on his run, when he was like, winning champion, like that was one thing. Like I had to stop and watch.
So it's kind of your fault. ESPN became like it did.
Probably. But we all had a little bit to do with.
It's true. I mean, McGuire was the same thing. They were breaking in every time he was at bat. I know. All right, last question. I'm going totally off the wall. Will Ferrell is Harry Carey with this one.
Nice.
If you were to turn yourself into a food, which one would it be?
I have no idea. A taco, because they're delicious.
A taco?
Yes, like a real taco, not like a white person taco. Like talking like marinated meat for like 24 hours. Actually, Indian food would be my way. I would go Indian food because it's so delicious.
So you would turn yourself into Indian food?
Yes. I want to be the naan bread that soups all. I just want to be the vehicle. It's so goddamn good.
Would you eat yourself?
Probably not.
All right.
Because I'm naan bread. I don't even have a mouth.
Fair enough.
I'm just the vehicle of the good to scoop the goodness in.
So it's like the chip into the salsa then.
Yeah, I'm trying to be helpful.
Okay.
That is me 100%.
All
right, last question we have here. We know you've traveled a little bit. Where is the coolest place you've traveled where you got there and you were just like, I'm glad I made this trip. Whether it's a work trip or not a work trip, it doesn't matter. You were happy you got that experience.
When I was in high school, I went to Europe as part of a school trip. It was 2 weeks over the summer.
Nice.
Which ended poorly because I ended up getting sick in France and came home.
I remember that.
Ill. It was I lost like 15 pounds. It was horrible.
But
I was
a really long time.
I was nervous about going over there. But when I finally got there and got to experience some of the things, I ended up having a really good time other than the part where I was sick. And it was really cool. I was in places like Vienna, beautiful. That was really cool. But so that story aside, I think probably the coolest place I can ever remember going, where I thought, this is awesome, it's probably Niagara Falls.
Nice. Yeah,
that was Niagara Falls. It's so big and so awesome, and you get to go on the ship up real close, and you get to walk behind the falls. That was just that was super cool.
I have a great Niagara Falls story. Not to interrupt, but
I was done. It was cool.
At that time, I was like 19 when I went, and I was big into photography. It's only my parents know the story because I was with them. Had the best pizza ever that trip, but I must have shot 19 rolls of film.
Wow.
To find out my camera was broke.
Oh no.
It had a crack in the frame that destroyed the light. So that entire trip is only memory. I had 19 rolls of film that I wanted to. Yeah.
What was it, like overexposed or something?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Oh, that is awful.
All of it. Yeah.
And for all those people listening, film is a thing you used to have to put in your camera to take the pictures before digital image sensors. Okay.
If I would have went to Niagara Falls tomorrow, the iPhone would have handled all that bullshit. Yeah. I did not know, like, cleaning the camera. Like, I was huge into photography. I still am, but huge in photography. I was cleaning the camera. I was looking at, I never saw the hairline crack that caused, and it's a sad moment, but you know, we move on and we at least can tell a story.
Way to bring us out on a downer, man.
Dude, I climbed out on a, no joke, and this was literally my life with my parents. My mom's like, you probably shouldn't do that. My dad's like, fuck it. I climbed out on a tree to see the Ontario before the falls. This is like 12 miles. We walked 12 miles this way. And I wanted to get out of the tree because how vast it was. It was so, before it gets into the falls, it kind of does this.
Wide, yeah.
It's very wide, and then it gets very, very, very small as it goes into the falls. I wanted one picture of that because I wanted to put something together in photos to kind of show how the river changes. And I climbed out there with that and took probably 12 great photos. I was very proud of myself. Never gonna see them.
Damn. Did you visit the locks at all while you were there?
Yes.
Because that was cool to watch, because of the falls, you can't do a ship down the river. They have to go through locks, which raise and lower the water. That was really cool. You know, you see it come in and they like close it off.
Oh yeah.
Drop the water level and then let it go. That was really neat.
Yeah. We also did me and my dad did the walk around the falls. Like inside the falls, they had a behind. Yeah. So that was really cool, just to like be standing and like there's like literally.
Actually, I just remembered now, the cooler part was when you do the American side, they had the hurricane deck where you'd walk up and the falls are basically like smashing you in the face.
Yes. Yeah, that's one of the coolest. I've been to the Grand Canyon. I've been to Niagara Falls. I've been to both of them. The Grand Canyon's cool, but I don't think anything beats Niagara Falls as a cool, and the fact that you get to go over, you just walk over to Canada and you get, as a young kid, you learn what money is and what the rate changes are. Like they do such a good job there.
Yes, they do. All right, well that wraps it up. John, let's hit him in the face with some shameless plugs. Where can people find us, man?
So Clapper seems to love us. We're on TikTok. Twitter hates us. Facebook Reels. You can find little short videos that bring us to
our main YouTube channel. Look for us, Two Noobs Talking. Like, share, and subscribe. We want to get to 100 subscribers so that we can give you a URL that actually makes sense and isn't just youtube.com/534A say JK87652. That wasn't the actual URL.
We grabbed 2 subscribers on YouTube as we're doing this.
Wow.
Yeah, we're growing. Growing is showing.
Well, let's get to 100. Hit that subscribe button in the face. I like hitting things in the face. It's a lot.
We'll throw a subscribe button that will be punched or something. Up there.
It's totally ironic that we say that's great after that Ranger fan. But anyway, on the audio side,
punch that subscribe.
On the audio side, John, where can people get it?
Spotify sucks. We're on Apple, iHeart, Google. Steve, you got any other ones?
Amazon Music. We're all over the place. If you type in TOO Noobs Talking or TWO Noobs Talking, you can pull us up on literally any device. We are Googleable. Googleable, absolutely. Well, that takes care of episode 89. It is in the can. John, you got anything final you want to tell our listeners, like the name of that zoo or anything?
Talk about that. It's the Armadillo Zoo.
No, the armadillo was the thing that was lying dead at the beginning of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. By the way, that is a thing in Texas. You normally do not drive on a highway without seeing one. that
A dead armadillo?
they seem to like to try to cross the road. They don't do a very good job of it. I've never seen a live one, but I've seen probably 100 dead ones. Weird.
Well, all right. For Mr. Tracy, I am Steve Murray, reminding you to look both ways before you cross the highway.
Yes.
See you next week, episode 90.
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed. That's a great question. What is the long-term effect of too much information? One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be true.